So, the Mandalorian movie has released. Now, personally, I enjoyed it very much, but I know a lot of people didn't. But throughout the movie, I was just thinking about how many really cool sets could be made from this movie. It had so much stuff in it. So, I'm just gonna kind of go through five just quick ideas that I have that I feel could be really cool. And furthermore, I don't really have footage at this time of recording of the movie because it hasn't released digitally and such. So images might be a bit outdated. Also, there will be some spoilers. Beginning with number five, we have the Gunrunner ship. Now, this is the TR Oral-3 Terrapin class bulk tanker. Now, to say the least, I like this ship a lot. Seeing it in the movie during when it was picking up Rot of the Hutt, it was so cool to see it because it just looked so utilitarian. That's how I'd put it. Now, the fact that it has legs for a Star Wars ship is number one. That could be a really cool play feature in this set, in this hypothetical set. But furthermore, I feel like if we were to include Rota in this set, he could actually go inside of the ship. Like, he could be in the hangar. Now, yes, that would take up space, but furthermore, I feel like this could have a good interior based on the movie. With gun racks, storage, boxes like we see in the movie. And furthermore, I feel it could be a really interesting ship because it's just so weirdly shaped. It's like a packet of crisps that had just been pumped up in the atmosphere, right? It's just so angular. I feel like that could be really interesting with the build techniques. Now, furthermore, the figures, I think the Gunrunner droid, which sadly I could not find a name of the time of this recording of the type. I know it's not the Gunrunner, himself or herself. It's their droid, but it's a really interesting droid, and I'd love to get it because it has like this oblong head. It's just a stark white, I believe, and I couldn't find a name for it, so I'm just gonna call it the Gunrunner droid. But that would be a cool figure to get, even though it's just driving it. You kind of need a pilot. Now, of course, Mando and Grogu would be included, and Rot of the Hutt would be such an interesting figure to get because this guy is just like Jabba, but well, he's literally Jabba but muscular, right? So I feel like that could be interesting. I don't know if they'd even do Rota. I have a feeling they won't, but let's hope they do. But also, I think even though Embo and his hound appear later on when this ship is here, I feel like we'll always need some sort of enemy in a Lego set. Even if it doesn't make sense, we kind of need it. But yeah, I feel like this could be a really cool set if Lego can do it right and if they even do it. But yeah. Now at number four, I think the scene where the twins meet Mando on much worse terms is far more interesting to have as a set. Now, how would I make this? Well, the fact that there's so many palace sets already, well, there's about three, but you know, I feel it could probably just be some walls. Maybe it would have some half floor, just judging on Lego's recent depictions of the palace, of any palace really, of any Hutt palace, like the Book of Boba Fett one. I think that this one could be pretty cool, especially if it actually has the hatch on the floor where Mando gets dropped through. Now, the actual twins on their podium, I feel this could be really interesting if Lego were to make like new specialized molds, which I feel like they would have to, right? Because these twins, they're it's weird. They're always stuck together. I don't know what it is with them, but they're always just really just up against each other. And I feel like they would have to make some sort of new mold for that. Now, in that sense, it could be really interesting. Also very expensive, and I doubt it, especially if they're going to do a Rota. I really doubt it, but hey, maybe they will. Now, with that, I feel the actual area could be pretty lackluster, sadly. Just judging on the realism here, it's not going to be much because personally, I didn't see much in the scene, right? There was some bits around, but with the budget taken up by like a whole two new molds for the twins, if this were to happen, it would take a lot away from the build. But what I want to see from the build? Well, probably just some bit of the floor, some walls, maybe some of the Orobesh that's around the twins. I forget the exact phrase that they say, but I know that it's quite interesting. Now, that could be cool, right? But the actual minifigure selection, I feel Embo, well, obviously with his hound, alongside Mando with a face print under his helmet, maybe a hairpiece. I don't believe we've gotten a hairpiece. I don't believe. Anyway, I don't think we have. But the droid mercs, like the mercenaries, I feel like they could be included. Even though they're not in this scene directly, they are prominently around this entire part of the movie, the mercenary droids, and I feel like this could be a good way to get some into the set, even if it's not super, let's say, accurate, right? And the actual twins themselves, this could be really interesting if they do this. They could be so. They could just be new molds, or it could just be two new Jabba molds. I'm not sure. I don't know how that would work either, because Jabba needs a lot of space. They could be pretty downsized huts, which would be disappointing but understandable, right? But I feel like this could be a really cool set. Now, moving on to number 3, I believe this may be a bit of a cop-out. I hope not. I don't think it is, but this has been done in LEGO's history before. I believe doing something similar to Jabba's Palace in 2014, where they actually had a separate set with the Rancor pit, right? The Rancor was under it. It was pretty cool. It was expensive too, and it's very expensive now. I feel like if they did something like this, but instead with the dragon snake that's under the actual palace, it could be a cool throwback. Now, it might be downsized, whatever else. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about my ideas, right? So, I feel like this could connect under the palace, especially if it has enough floor to kind of have that little feature where you can drop Din Djarin into the pit, and he can be there. Now, I feel the majority of the pieces will go into the actual dragon snake and the walls, because the walls are going to have to be pretty high to hold all that up. And the actual floor, probably just some tiling and some seaweed, that sort of thing, right? I feel like it could be really interesting, because if they have this and it could connect onto the palace, it could be really cool, in my opinion. It could be really interesting, especially if that dragon snake has a molded head and a brick-built body. I imagine they do brick-built body, but I don't think they'd make a new one. I think they'd reuse a spinal mold from the Jurassic Park or the Jurassic World series of sets, but I feel like it could be very interesting as well. Furthermore, the Amani, which are the fish, like the fish aliens, they have spears, they have, fish-esque bodies. I feel like they could be an interesting new mold too. I feel like they'd use probably like a minifigure body, but an actual headpiece like Chewie. Chewie's one covers his torso, it covers his head, it's quite big. I feel like if they did this with this, they would just have to enlarge the head, etc., etc. You have a Amani, right? Maybe 2 of those in the set, right? We see quite a few of them in the scene. Of course, Mando. But I feel another interesting thing to have in the set would be Grogu and the Anzellans. Now, I believe it would be really fun to have a play feature where you can blow up the wall, it crumbles down, Mando can get out, right? That could be a really interesting play feature, especially if we get all 4 Anzellans this time, instead of 3 of them. I don't know why they gave us 3, but this could be really interesting. It'd be a really nice throwback as well to that original Jabba's Palace. I feel like this could be an interesting set, but moving on. Going forward with number 2, this has got to be my favourite ship from the whole movie, to be honest. I mean, I loved this ship, and I really hope they make it. Now, what is this ship, you're asking? It's the HH-87 Starhopper. Now, this is the patrol ship used by the Hutts and by the mercenary droids specifically. This is seen midway through the movie and towards the end. Now, I feel this could be a really cool set, especially since we got one so long ago, which I'm so surprised they made. But yeah, no, that one is quite old. It's still a good set, yeah. Cool minifigs, but it's just this one I feel could be so interesting, especially with all the new parts that we have today. It could be such a beautiful ship that they could make. Furthermore, it's like tan, brownish color. It really contrasts well with mostly gray sets that we get, right? Like it's nice. Now, it's so interesting in my opinion, but I feel the inclusion of its pilot, the mercenary droid, would also be a really cool thing to get because I hope we get the mercenary droids, especially the B1, which has like its cape. It's in a lot of the material, promotional material. I think the Black Series has a figure of it as well, and I feel if we can get that, I feel they'll probably do a molded back piece, or I don't know how they'll even do it. I have no idea, but it would be cool either way. And if it can fly the ship, just sit in it, I would be so happy. Especially because we have the new Y Wing, and well, the new Y Wing, which is rumored. It's rumored. I think it will come out. And the X Wing. Now, the Y Wing is rumored to be from the original trilogy, but it could also fit in well in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I feel this could be a really cool ship to fight off against those ships. Now, maybe just the X Wing, but it could be so cool to just have two ships that go off against each other. Because we usually do, right? We always have a TIE fighter and an X Wing alongside each other because we didn't get because we didn't get a TIE fighter this year. I believe maybe we're going to get a Star Hopper next year, which I would be so happy with. I love this ship. I hope other people do too as well, but I mean, this is like one of my favorite ships from the movie. I've got no idea why. I never cared about it before. After seeing the movie, after seeing that droid in it, that was so cool. But yeah, that's all I have to say for this one. It's if I could choose one set to bring in, it would be this set. But anyway, moving on. So going on with number one, this is not like my top wanted one, but I was kind of conflicted here. I had two ideas. I could do six sets, but I just thought one of them is probably not going to happen, right? And that being Mando's hut on the planet. I don't remember which planet it was on, but he is on a planet and he has his home there. We see it in season 3 of The Mandalorian, but I don't think they would make it into a set because it's not a ship, it's not a mech, which I don't like, but it's not a ship, it's not a mech, it's not they don't usually do buildings, right? But I feel they might just do the exterior of it, like the front wall, which yeah, I wouldn't be too happy with, but I feel they could actually put it into alongside Embo's ship, which I feel could be a really cool set in itself. Now, would they do this? Probably not. Which, in itself, Embo's ship is the Guillotine, which is, may I add, just a very cool name. You maybe get some cages inside for Mando, and maybe bits and bobs inside of it. It could be interesting, right? Now, the actual color of it is grey, it's brown, pretty standard, but I feel they could maybe have this guillotine with Mando's house in the one set. Now, I'd be very happy if the guillotine got the most parts and wasn't super small, and maybe Mando's hut was just the outside of it, which it'd be disappointing, but it's a house. I believe this could be very interesting because we could get, for example, Mando, Grogu, the Anzellans. I believe his hound's name is Marok, I think. I might be wrong. But we could also get Embo too. And I just think this could be really cool if they can do his ship alongside this, because you could kind of recreate the scene. Now, if they didn't do that, I'd understand. For myself, I'd really like to get the Guillotine. It's a very cool ship. Like, you gotta get Embo's ship in there, especially since we have some other ships. Now, I know he doesn't fight any ships directly, but it'd still be cool to get this. And, yeah, that's kind of my That's kind of my last idea there. Of course, I have more, but I need to watch the movie again. So that's my list of ideas that I just came up with while watching the movie. I have left out quite a lot of this movie, to say the least, but I kind of want to wait until I can rewatch it, and then I'll do another video. Maybe I'll do a 10 set list, maybe I'll do a 20 set list. I've got no idea. This movie was really fun. I know it wasn't for everyone, and I know it wasn't museum grade media, but it was a really fun movie. And for the most part, I enjoyed it. I feel it could have some really cool sets from it. So that's kind of it for this video. I hope you had a good time. I sure did, and I hope you have a great day.